depth of my soul, feeling the loss of control in a spirit so colorful. Easy feeling, then let's go to a place where you belong. Give you strength to carry on. Open your heart, set your mind at ease. Live your life and you'll be free. We're gonna rise, rise, rise. Keep on rising, rise, rise, rise. Keep on rising,
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Toon Review for tonight's Newcastle 0, Borussia Dortmund 1 match review. We just quickly start with a new member, Alan Kennedy. Thank you very much for signing up to the Toon Review membership. Thank you for your support and welcome to the family. Usual applies tonight, guys. If you do enjoy our show tonight, please do hit the thumbs up. Very, very important, as I keep rabbiting on every time, but it is important to the channel that we keep the likes coming in. And of course, if you're new and you like what you see, please do subscribe to the Toon Review. Pop along and be part of this incredible community that we have on the Toon Review by hitting the subscribe button. It is free to do so. And also the notification bell, which will let you know when we go live or we upload any future videos. You can also become a member, like Alan has, by hitting the join button just underneath. And of course, you can donate to the channel if you do so wish or are feeling kind enough tonight. It really does help the channel with equipment, etc., all the super chats and stuff like that. So you can hit the $sign and that will take you through, and you'll also get your comment read straight out as well as a big thank you. So, guys, 1-0, Borussia Dortmund. Of course, Tonali's suspension came through as well, Alex. Me and Billy went live earlier on today with that, but we're yet to have your input on it. Tell us what you think.
Yeah, well, I was on my lunch break for the sort of tail end of that live show, so I did catch a little bit. Yeah, I mean, all things considered, I think it's fine. I think it could have been a lot more. There's rumours out there that he could have been sort of 2 or 3 years. So for it to be under a year, again, it's August. It means he can partake in. Well, apparently, that I think he can train. I don't think it's been clarified.
Yeah, he can train and he can play friendlies as well. Yeah,
and he can play friendlies. Well, that's excellent. Yeah. Basically means he's available from pre-season to kick on.
Yeah.
You know, at the start of next season. So we knew he was going to be gone for the rest of this season. That was already the expectation. But now we've got the added positive that because this could have gone either way. So now we've got the additional thing is he can partake in preseason and play friendlies and be available from the start of next season, which are all things that were up in the air. And he can train in the interim period, and he's going to get help with sort of proper rehab plan. So it's. The only thing I did hear you guys mention the whole 20,000 euros thing, which I agree. It's I mean, if he's on 100k plus a week, that's 1/5 of a week's wage, which that's a bit of a month's wage. So, I mean that's like us getting fined 50, 100 quid. You're if you're a normal person on a standard job, which feels a little bit low when you sort of weigh it up, but. All things considered, I think it's probably one of the best results we could have hoped for. He gets a pre-season, friendlies, back in for next year.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is.
Of course, the way I said it earlier on, Alex, is if, instead of thinking he's got a ban, a lot of the fans are saying, oh, well, he's got like an ACL injury and he's out for 10 months, but he'll be back for pre-season training next season. So,
it's the same as Emil Krath, but just different.
Yeah, but we know he'll be back in pre-season this time. Good evening, Alicia. Hope you're well. Niall says, good evening all. Didn't get the rub of the green last night. Hopefully injuries clear up quickly. Alan says, good evening or good afternoon to our Toon Review family. Call Me Swift says, Anthony Gordon is something special. He is. Alan says, 70 years I first stood in St. James's, and other than my time in the army, always there. Sometimes I thought I was nuts. I think everybody's considered themselves a bit nuts for the time that they followed Newcastle United through the dark times, to be honest, Alan. But, one thing about Newcastle United fans is we're all nuts in such a lovely way. We, apart from the bell ends that were fighting last, I still don't understand fighting over a football team. Grown adults punching each other because they support different football teams. I will never understand it. I just cannot. I cannot get my head around it. It's madness. Joe says, got to ask if anyone thinks the PIF had something to do with Tonali's suspended deal, only because it could have been much worse, and he had a €20,000 fine. I don't think PIF had any say in it, to be honest, matey. It's the Italians that have done it. PIF.
It's longer than Tony's ban, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Tony literally bet on matches he was playing in.
Well, Tony wasn't allowed to, of course, train. He could train 3 months before the end of his ban, but obviously 4 months he couldn't go to the training ground. He couldn't go to the matches.
Yeah, but he had a lesser ban, despite the fact he bet on things. He was on the pitch at the whereas Tonali apparently wasn't. He bet on things that he wasn't actually on the pitch for.
Yeah.
So I think all things considered, I think it's probably fair if you map it to Tony's.
Anyway, so let's look back at last night. Billy, we the team that we all seem to predict on the preview show came to fruition. It was that team. That team only lasted 12 minutes. I thought we started the game very well. We looked very positive, as did Dortmund. We expected Dortmund to sit back when we saw that Brandt was out and Sabitzer was in. However, both teams went for it, but then we're knocked by the early substitution, of course, on 12 minutes of Alexander Isak.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. We knew straight away that it wasn't something that was going to run off. He wasn't rolling around in agony. It wasn't an impact injury. We knew straight away it was something, a muscle injury of some kind. And so it proved to be the groin injury that kept him out the previous couple of weeks when he went away on international duty. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a shame for him because I think he looked pretty good the little while he was on. He looked up for it. Same as he did Saturday, looked up for it then too. And it's kind of have to put Callum Wilson on after having a virtually full game on Saturday. Got another full game probably on. Well, we'll have a full game next Saturday. Mm-hmm. It's not good for us, is it, with the amount of players we've got injured? And yeah, Callum didn't get a chance to warm up. Looked really, really shaky while he was the first 25th, 30 minutes he was on. Mm-hmm. And just to lose Isak was a massive blow for us because I think he could have caused some trouble to the centre halves.
Yeah, it was disappointing. And Alex, it seemed to knock our gameplay a little bit because, as the half went on, although Newcastle were threatening as well, you just felt, there was a Dortmund goal coming. They did have some very good attacks and some opportunities. Nick Pope made some great saves, of course. But you just felt that, we were just trying to get used to not having Isak on the pitch, and the game plan went a little bit skew-whiff, and obviously Dortmund capitalised on that right on half-time.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dortmund fans have got to hold their hands up and understand that they got very lucky, which I know sounds very bitter. I do think they played incredibly well. However, when you factor in the one of the most important players on the pitch who leads our press and who was ready, got injured straight away. Additionally, a few counter-attacks they had in transition came from because the referee didn't flag fouls, which were fouls, which got them a few of those transitions, and then they finally scored from something similar. And then additionally, we hit the crossbar a bunch, and there was a load of that in the game. So I feel like they've got to hold their hands up and understand that if we play that game a bunch more times, that result's not going to repeat itself. In the same way with the AC Milan game where we drew 0-0, if we play that another 9 times, we lose it 9 more times. We got very lucky in the AC Milan game. This time, it was the opposite way around. I feel like Dortmund were quite fortunate, and if we play that a handful more times, we definitely score a goal, at least. It just happens. It happens. We've been doing this all season, where we've been overperforming an XG. Sometimes you overperform it, sometimes you underperform it. Sometimes it just doesn't go in. But everything that needed to click for Dortmund clicked in terms of who was injured for us. World saves, world-class saves, headers, even the post, even the ref. But again, I don't want to take anything away from the Dortmund performance because I liked it. I don't think they were malicious. I don't think they were, some teams come to St. James's Park and you're like, and you just don't like them because of the way they behave. I thought Dortmund behaved okay and played very well. And I'm not angry at that. I thought the fans were exceptional, and it was great to welcome them to the city. And it was an exciting game, even for neutrals to watch. It was just one of those.
Yeah. Guys, there's a lot of people in the chat saying that their streams are freezing. It's nothing to do with us. Mine's going perfectly well at the minute. I think it's YouTube servers acting up again, guys. So if you can just bear with it, refresh it, come out, go back in, that kind of thing. But it's nothing to do with us. We've only got 461 watching, which tells me there is a problem there somewhere. So just refresh, guys, and hopefully it'll come back on again. But it's YouTube, not us. So I do apologize to everybody that's having problems with their streams tonight. Kevin Greener, thank you for your £5 super chat. He says, great patron last night. Was quite depressed after watching the match, but feel a lot better after hearing your thoughts. Thank you very much. Billy and Alex do of course, the instant reaction on Patreon. And then I'll do the difficult bit by editing it and putting it on, just late into the night kind of thing. But listen, it's a big team effort. And, we've had a really good response to the Patreon podcasts as well. So thank you very, very much for that. If you're interested in being a patron of the Toon Review and listening to a little bit of extra content away from the camera, then the link for Patreon is in the description. Just scroll down. It is there somewhere. And that's another way of supporting the channel as well. So thank you in advance for that. Now, Billy, we did have an opportunity last night to take the lead, of course. I thought Anthony Gordon's opportunity, the more I see it, he just, I don't know whether he was trying to go back across the keeper into the far corner. That's where he should have gone. But unfortunately, he went straight at the keeper.
I think Kobe, you've got to give him credit. I think he narrowed the angles really well, made himself big, and he didn't have a lot to aim at, to be fair. I think he was trying for the far corner and just slightly got inside it. So I'm not sure you can really blame it. It wasn't an easy one-on-one chance. He had an angle. He could only go to the far corner, really, unless he hit it with his left and tried near post. But, Kobe was such a great goalkeeper to save that. So not a lot of blame attached to Anthony Gordon for that one. I think it's brilliant goalkeeping, to be fair. He's just got in the right position and made it hard for him.
Very good distributor of the ball as well, wasn't he? A lot of people are asking why we're third in the group at the minute, but a better goal difference than Borussia Dortmund. It's because it actually goes on head-to-head before goal difference. So that's why. It's nothing to do with goal difference. It's head-to-head. So they do it a little bit differently in Champions League. So that's the reason why. Following the Toon is never boring, says Tony. Certainly not. Ian Skinner says, if I were a Bournemouth fan, I would be spitting blood over Tony not being allowed to train. Well, it's Brentford, actually, mate. But, it's all right, Ian. I have plenty Castorias myself. More inconsistency delivered by the football authorities. Well, it's different countries, isn't it? And different laws, different approaches to it, etc. That's why. I have a feeling if it was in this country, then you'd probably get the same sort of stuff thrown to Nali's way, like a ban, staying away from training, etc. But I think it's vital, Alex, that he's allowed to train because we've discussed in previous shows about him having a bit of spare time and not being able to do anything. But at least he's still going to be around the lads. He's going to be around the team atmosphere, which is very important. Yeah,
well, it gives him time to understand how we play. There's not going to be any excuses come next year because he's going to have had the time to settle in and a full pre-season. I think we've seen glimpses of it. Obviously, me and Billy saw a bit of the Euros of some silky passes, amazing first touches, that technical quality. I tell you what, when he came on as a sub last night, that's it. I don't know if anybody remembers it, but if you can remember it, cast your minds back to the few Tony. We don't have a Tony. Few Tonali touches and passes in that game. It's the first time I've seen him do things like that since he was at AC Milan. That cheeky little through ball he tried, some of the first touches, the awareness, the physicality to just try and retain the ball against four players. He just didn't care. He's like, I'm amazing and I will prove it. He just didn't care. He just played his game. He looked so much more relaxed. He looked like a top quality player. And that little snippet is exactly what we've not been seeing for the last 4 or 5 weeks. We've seen some good performances, like against PSG. He ran his socks off, but it was more of a physical performance. Whereas last night we saw a few snippets of what he's really about. Some of the first touches, body feints, a little pass through. Like he is a top-notch player. it was just incredible, and I can't wait to see him back, because he's one of the people, and I know people will base their experiences on Tonali from what they've seen this season, and that's completely fair enough. But how he's actually able to play when he's on form, he's one of those players that you pay money to go and watch. He is. I know we say this about Bruno, but when Tonali's on form, you pay your entry money and you sit in your seat and you go, "Wow, this guy's amazing." He can be that. So I can't wait for him to get back.
Philip Shuttleworth says, have you seen the Christmas fixtures on TV? Home on Boxing Day and away at Liverpool New Year's Day at 8 p.m. How can away fans travel on that date with no way of getting there unless you drive down? Well, nobody thinks about fans, do they, when they're doing this? It's all about Spondulis, Benjamins, basically, and nobody gives a crap about the fans. It doesn't matter whether they're a Newcastle fan or another fan of another club. They don't care. All they do is schedule, thinking, there'll be a massive TV audience for that one. We'll do this, we'll do that, and then it goes from there. Now, Billy, last night, obviously the weather didn't help. It was absolutely yucking it down for the full game. The pitch was very, very slippy. Long balls, normally would be perfectly hit. They were just hitting the surface and just flying away. But one other thing that didn't help us last night was the referee.
Oh, he was appalling, wasn't he? Wanted centre stage all to himself. He wasn't happy with the players taking centre stage. He missed so much stuff last night. One particular one was the where Schlotterbeck virtually pulled out Callum Wilson's shorts down in front of him. He's staring at it. He didn't give a free kick for it. It's just astonishing bit of refereeing, really. I thought we should have had a penalty. VAR didn't even look at it, which is astonishing in my eyes. Because Almon was tucked down in the box. Simple as that. He contact, didn't play the ball, and he's down in the box. To me, that's a penalty kick. And VAR didn't even check it. So the officiating last night, very, very poor. Very, very poor.
Do you think it was a penalty, Alex?
I mean, you see him given. Look, if it was given the other way, I'd be frustrated. So it's tough. I understand what Billy means. I don't think the camera angles, I think I mentioned it at the time, that I don't think the camera angles did us any favours as fans trying to make that call. I don't know if they got the luxury of different camera angles, but it's a case of, does he block the run or does he not, and where's the trajectory of the ball, and it's tough. It's a tough call. I tell you what, I would have been frustrated if it had been given against us. But I can see why Billy thinks it's a penalty potentially. Yeah.
There was another one with of course Anthony Gordon in the second half. But the referee just seemed to be extremely lenient. Cards weren't pulled out the pockets when they should have been. There was a few challenges, actually very late challenges on our players, which, there was one in particular on Kieran Trippier, I think, right down the back of his ankle, and a couple of others, very late challenges that just went unpunished, Billy. Just no free kicks, no nothing.
No, and kind of just ridiculous all the way around, really. I mean, the first couple of minutes, he let two or three things go, and you think, is he going to give any free kicks in this game? And then give a really soft one. I thought, Christ, what's he doing here? He's inconsistent just in the first 5 minutes. And that continued, really. He definitely favoured Borussia Dortmund, no doubt about that in my mind. No doubt about that in my mind whatsoever.
Yeah, there was some very strange ones.
I mean, 4 minutes overtime at the end. 10 substitutions, Jacob Murphy down for at least 2 minutes with dislocated shoulder. How's that 4 minutes?
Yeah. I admit that the 4 minutes at the end I was astonished by, to be honest, but hey ho, that's we can't do anything about it now. But the thing is, one thing that's abundantly clear from everybody that was at the game last night, or listening to it on TV, whatever, that the atmosphere was shocking. Now, this, a lot of fans going about this great atmosphere at St James's Park, okay? Now, I've been there when it's been absolutely incredible, like the Paris Saint-Germain game was unbelievable. But a lot of the time, what I noticed at St James's Park, and I don't know whether any of the viewers that will agree with me on this, but sometimes at St James's Park, even against the bigger teams, the atmosphere before the game is great. But I think, personally, the music before a game is rubbish. The build-up that we have to the match is rubbish. And that needs to be addressed, because some of the music that we play before game isn't the kind of music that would get you up for a big game. You go around the other grounds and you see, they're doing light shows with the floodlights or flames everywhere, and they've got really good music that gets your blood pumping. Newcastle, it isn't, and it hasn't been like that for quite some time now. So that needs to be sorted. But also after the kickoff, 10 minutes into the game, there's a lot of the time at St James's Park, it goes really quiet. And I don't understand it. And then so many times you will hear the opposition fans singing, "Where's your famous atmosphere?" You get that nearly every other game. And and seeing all the people that complained about the atmosphere last night was quite disappointing. I don't know how you guys feel on it, but for me, the pre-match has got to be better. Even after the game, it's the same old, the moving on up now song. It doesn't really get you, it's dull. And it's not the type of music that you feel that, like Status Quo, the Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall song, play that by all means because it gets the fans going. But it's very dull. I don't know how you guys feel on it.
They need a whole overhaul of it, I think. I think they need to again, they've got access to this. They can do it for free. Bring in 20, 30 fans, coordinate with people like Adam Pearson, use Toon polls to your advantage. You've got these things that exist. Social media exists. You need to take up. I hope they may be already doing this, but it needs changing. I'm not a massive fan of the announcer, and I apologize, whoever you are. You're obviously a professional, and I couldn't do it, but I do feel some of it's it's just my personal opinion. The music as well. And I feel like the ticketing is a big part of it because we've seen lots of videos of empty seats and people leaving early for half time. I've seen some comments in the chat about, you need goals. No, you don't. Absolute nonsense. No, you don't. No. You don't need goals for an atmosphere. There are clubs all over the world, clubs in Brazil, parts of South America, clubs in Germany, who they're losing 3-0 and all they do is sing, 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 sing. You don't need goals. It's about being a fan. And this is what we've tried to explain in the previews in the build-up to these games, that us as fans are a part of the club as well. We're a part of what makes the team successful if we're there. And it's, I agree with you, Paul. I think sometimes I've been part of some amazing nights, like when we beat Arsenal 2-0, the one that made it onto the documentary. That was one of the most incredible nights I've been there as well. There's been a few others that were very, very good. Obviously, the Brighton game.
There was one last season, Alex, in the Carabao Cup where they brought that DJ, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Shaq.
Yes.
Shaq, yeah. And he played some music, and it was brilliant. I was in the executive box that night, and everybody came out the boxes. Everybody was dancing and really G'd up for the game. And then when he stopped, the next 15 minutes was back to sleepy old music again. And you're thinking, well, that's not good enough.
Exactly.
And the club have got to play a part in this. It's not just the fans.
They don't have to listen to just one person. Mm-hmm. They can consult many people and try and get a big sample so they can understand what is the right way to proceed. They can consult with influencers, they could consult with journalists, they could consult with the fan base, the supporters trust. There's so many different things they could use that's at their disposal, and people would be happy to help. Mm-hmm. Just offer their opinion. They don't have to listen to it, but you can get some information and try and improve things.
I mean, the goals thing is nonsense. We lost to Man City 4-0 2 years ago. The crowd were loud for 90 minutes, flags waving for the 90 minutes. Mm-hmm. One of the first games when Eddie Howe came in. But last night, I've spoke to people who were there. Lots and lots of tourist fans there, mobile phones on, taking pictures of people.
That is becoming
didn't know any
issue.
Of the songs. Didn't know any of the songs. Sat there, quite all. I think the club have got to be careful about who gets the tickets for these games because you don't want people there. It's great to bring people in for the first games and stuff. But you've got to have an atmosphere there for these Champions League games to give us an advantage. Really, we need it. We need every advantage we can take. And if they're going to sit there not knowing any of the songs, not knowing nothing, not even knowing where the ground was, some of them were walking around with black and white scarves and asking people where the ground was. That's got to stop. It's got to stop.
We don't want to. It's a slippery road. That, to be honest, we've seen it at Man United, all the phones, Man City, all the phones. No. I still don't understand. Even as a YouTuber, okay, as a a podcaster, I don't go into that ground and sit with my phone out. I'll take a few photos of the flag display or a video of the flag display before the start of the game, and then my phone goes away. But I'm seeing even even some, not all, but some sitting on the phones for the full game, mind, the full game, you know, and putting bits onto a video later on. Why? You're there as a football fan. But it is, Alex, because they're not watching the game properly. They're not supporting the team properly.
It is about that. You're right. But what I'm saying is you don't have to be from the Northeast, or you don't have to consistently go to games to bring an atmosphere. Whenever I go, I will make sure I sing the songs, I cheer the lads, I participate in everything I possibly can. I will be as energetic as possible, because it's just part of it. And this is why I always try and give a little mini speech to everyone before we have a big game, and just say, you know, we need you guys, because it is. And look at the PSG game. Proof is in the pudding. Like it makes a big difference. But so I disagree with the fact that you can have new people at games.
Yes,
big games
I don't think that's what Billy meant, though, Alex. You know what he means. Yeah.
However, but I don't mind if there's newbies or potentially people who aren't consistent. However, if they turn up and sing and they understand what is necessary of them, they've got to understand that you're signing an imaginary contract. When you walk into that ground as a fan, if you're supporting everybody in the black and white, you have to know the words to Bladen Races. You have to sit there. You have to clap. You have to understand there's an expectation if you walk into that ground. It's whether you agree with me or not. The PSG game, it works. So whether you're a tourist or you're a regular, understand what's expected of you as a fan, what is part of the culture. Look at Dortmund. People whinging about the drums. That's their culture. Get over it. It's what they do.
When you come out of that ground, if you've not got a sore throat, then there's something wrong.
Completely agree.
Yeah, well, how many times have I come back on the show the next day and done my reaction video and I'm hoarse, completely hoarse.
And that's how everyone should be.
Exactly. Sam, thank you for your $19.99 super chat. He says, if AC Milan knew about Tonali, it was a stupid move on their part, trying to rip off a club backed by his sovereign wealth fund. If PIF wanted, many Italian companies will be deprived of investments. Keep up the great work, guys. Straight Jacket, thank you for your £5 super chat. But everyone expects you to lose versus City, not Dortmund. No one said Dortmund was going to win at St. James's Park. The shock that we were dominated silenced the crowd. I'm not sure we were dominated. It was end-to-end, certainly the first half. Manchester City fan for life, thank you for your $1.99 super chat. You got humbled, bro, like United will do.
1-0. Is that humbling?
1-0 humbling. I don't think so. Strange.
We're coming for you. Just take that in.
Yeah. Look, again, when we're talking about other clubs, we're not talking. There is, when we mention Manchester City and the fans that go there with the phones, we know that Manchester City have a very good hardcore fan base. That was proved when they were in the third tier of English football and still getting 30-odd thousand to a game. Yeah. They have some magnificent fans and some really loyal fans. It just that we as football clubs don't want to go down that route where the majority of fans are there just to get photos and treat it as a tourist destination. It doesn't want. We don't need that, because I think Anthony Gordon last night a few times tried to get the crowd going, and they just didn't. And I think that was what kind of. I don't know. I've got no reason for it. I mean, people are complaining about the Dortmund fans banging a drum all game. I would love that. Banging on a drum, singing all day, having somebody with a megaphone. That's what it's all about for me. And you see these fans in France, in Germany, in Spain. They're all bouncing up and down nearly the whole game. It's like a routine for them. So I don't have a problem with that. I'd rather St. James's Park was bouncing like that than it be as quiet as it was last night.
I accept that twat at Portsmouth with the chimes. Christ, these are annoying.
Well,
twats.
I don't like the Pompey chimes. They are annoying. But a drum, it's something that, I know some people don't like it, but personally, I do. And I think, the PSG fans, they were bouncing and singing all game. No matter what the score was, they were still, cheering the team on. And Dortmund did the same last night. So I think it has to be looked at the whole, the way it just doesn't get you going before a game. The music is dull. It really is dull. It doesn't get the fans going. We play Rise before a mix of Rise that Susan did, for the countdown to the show. It gets you pumped. It still gets me pumped up. I remember, we started using it from the takeover days. It gets you pumped up for the show as hosts. You know what I mean? It's like yeah, we're going to rise. And you hear the music, and you think of your football club and think, wow, look where we've come from, kind of thing. But there's something wrong. And, when St. James's Park is quiet, it resonates on the pitch. It does. Because players, it works both ways. The players have to do something to get the crowd going as well. But when the crowd goes silent for no reason, especially when we're in the game, then you have to ask questions.
But Dortmund would know that. Dortmund's game plan would have been to silence the crowd and to attack as they did in the first 15, 20 minutes. I think it worked.
Dylan says, I like Hey Jude and Blade and Races. Yeah, obviously, Hey Jude, we go Geordies instead of Jude, don't we? And that sounds brilliant bouncing around St. James's Park. And of course, Blade and Races speaks for itself.
Both those songs are, Hey Jude's 54 years old and Blade and Races is a couple of 100 years old, isn't it? 150 years old. Set up to date.
Local heroes and anthem for when Newcastle come on. That is an iconic bit of music for us. But the rest of it, I'm talking about the build up to the actual game. 10, 15 minutes before kickoff, get some proper music on that's going to get the crowd rocking. Somebody on a microphone to say, where are you, Newcastle fans, kind of thing. And like Shaq did. Shaq really got, no matter what you think of Shaq, he got the crowd, he got the ground bouncing. Everyone coming out of the executive boxes, dancing in the stands. It was brilliant. And it really got the place going. And I think it's disappointing sometimes that St. James's Park can end up, it is like a mortuary sometimes. As much as I hate to admit it, when the opposition fans start singing, is this a library or where's your famous atmosphere? You look back and you think, yeah, you can't blame them for singing that. Anyway, second half, we were a lot better last night, guys. First, 8 minutes of the second half, we were saying, Billy, that we weren't getting anything. It was drab. We were calling for substitutions, but then suddenly a little spark hit, and we started getting our foot on the ball a bit more attacking, and created some great chances. We hit the bar twice. Callum Wilson really should have scored, but I was impressed at the way we turned it around.
Yeah, and I think a lot of credit of that goes to the manager. Not only did he bring subs on, he changed the actual system of how we were playing to a 4-4-2, brought a more attacking left back on. And from that moment on, I thought we were really, really pressing him. We should have scored, no doubt about it. I think the performance after that moment was really good. Really good.
Mm-hmm. Alex?
Yeah. Again, I think Dortmund got very lucky with the injury to Isak and a few breakaway chances given by the referee in the first half. But the goal, I think, was probably fair. And second half, I just don't think we had the right personnel on the pitch, and that's just down to who was available and who's fit. It is what it is. We went 1-0 behind. We didn't have enough to pick the lock. We tried to. I think the statistics flatter Dortmund. I think they've come out with that game with higher XG than us. However, if you factor in those two, the double shot in quick succession that Nick Pope saved, there was a foul in the build up to that. So like 0.6, 0.7 of their XG. They shouldn't have that. That was a foul in the build-up. So realistically, on paper, that's 1-1 all day long. And if we got a bit of luck, it could have been 2-1. Like it's just the way the coin landed on the day, and I think we played very, very well. And again, second half, I thought we came out okay. We weren't great initially, which was frustrating. Credit to the Dortmund manager and what Dortmund did, because they obviously came out straight away in the second half and tried to stifle whatever it was we tried to do, because we couldn't really get anything going. It took a little while, and then Eddie, I think, was very brave with substitutions and shape changes, trying to go at the game and just trying to get something from the result. And I can't fault any of those decisions. I thought he made every possible change and decision he could to try and win that game for us. It just didn't work, unfortunately.
Mr. Trigger TV has obviously been triggered. Have you stopped whining on about the atmosphere yet? Because I've just put you on mute. Well,
we'll press the X button and go away then. You don't have to put us on mute.
Well, it just sounded like St. James's Park last night. You put us on mute. Thunderstruck. That's a song. That is a tune that gets the crowd going, absolutely. And as it says, I think a lot of supporters travelling are quiet during the match. Yep. Well, the visiting supporters aren't.
I drive up 5 hours and then cheer and then drive home the same night another 5 hours. Like it doesn't matter. And there's a few of you arguing in the chat. It's like, I'm allowed my opinion. If you want to go to a concert, go to the Stadium of Light and go and watch Beyonce. But my opinion is you cheer your team, whether it's goalless or whether you're winning or whatever the situation is. It's just part and parcel of it. You know, if you go tell a Millwall fan that, go see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Straight Jacket, thanks for another £2 super chat. He says we need to have uncomfortable conversations about Wilson. We'll come on to Callum when we do the player ratings. Roughyard Burnigan says Holding Out for a Hero by Bonnie Tyler. Used to be used for the American football on Channel 4 in the 80s would be a great song. Ian McKenna says, are you ready to rumble?
Psych.
Psych, yeah.
It's on
Watch the
brand.
mic. Where's Jimmy Nail singing Big River? Need the away fan attitude to home games. Yeah, we do. The Toon Review, who is putting in a lot of weird comments about me having just it's my opinion or the highway. It's a football match, not a concert.
But you're describing it like it is a concert, that we should just sit there quiet and only speak or cheer if something magical happens. That's nonsense, mate. That's okay. That I am allowing everybody to have opinions. Everybody's allowed opinions, whatever. But that's ridiculous. Like, what? People are just supposed to sit there and you shouldn't say or do anything unless a player does something well? What?
I mean, the club have got a role in this as well. They've actually stopped people from standing up for attacks and stuff. There's been an email sent to all the season ticket holders. No standing up. Well, when you're attacking, that's the first thing you do. You try and get a better view as you can, don't you? But they've stopped that now. If you're caught doing it more than 3 or 4 times, you lose your bloody ticket.
Absolutely.
Madness.
Kath, I hope you've dried out, sweetie. I know you were absolutely soaked last night. Kath, she says, agree, Billy. I was sitting above the dugout last night, level 7 balcony, saw it clearly. A nailed-on penalty on Almiron. They also got away with loads that B, ref and linesman ignored. Stiff Gator says, I know people who cheer loud and proud in the Millburn stand and get told we don't do that here. It feels like it's become more middle class and image conscious in parts of the ground. The birthday announcements at halftime. Oh my God. Again, just put them in the program. Put the birthdays in, give a page to the program for birthdays. It's monotonous. Jay says some fans moan if you shout or stand up. It's ridiculous. Yeah, well, somebody did that last season around us, and he got an absolute earful from many people. Mike says the phone is a generational thing. If it's not on your phone or social media, it never happened. Ryan says, what kind of music-specific songs would you want for pre-match? Well, people have already mentioned them. Things like, Thunderstruck by AC/DC. It is a brilliant song to pump it up. Get a bit of Metallica on, Enter Sandman, those kind of things. Songs that are renowned.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily. I mean, I like those songs, but again, it's not just down to us; it's down to everybody's taste. So again, that's why the club should coordinate with lots of people and try and just get it right for everyone, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Nathan says it's just sections. I was in the Platinum Club and it was shite as usual. Atmosphere aside, Joe Linton and Longstaff were crap. We'll come on to the player ratings in a couple of moments' time. We'll just get a few more. Matty Davis celebrating being a member for 8 months. He says Tonali was very good when he come on. Is it because of the cloud over him, or he now knows he is loved by the fans? I think it's a bit of both, to be honest. I think it's a massive lift off his shoulders. There's no doubt about that. Ab says the problem is almost opposite for me. People are there wanting to party rather than being a supporter. It's the soccer aid mentality. It's a different dynamic. Foxy says atmosphere was disappointing, but you can't compare it to Dortmund, really. English atmospheres are poor these days compared to the rest of the world. We have one of the best in England, but that's it. Well, it's strange for me because, when it's bouncing, it's bouncing. There is no doubt about that.
I don't think that the shape of the stadium helps the atmosphere either. And once this kind of new stand and stuff and it starts getting all the way around, then you'll get better acoustics, let's say. Yeah.
No vuvuzelas though. No,
Absolutely
definitely not. That would be horrible. Mr. Toon Review is back again. Who are you to tell people not to use their mobile phones? It's nobody's business. Are away fans not allowed to use their phones when they come here? For fuck's sake, stupid comment. It's the same thing.
Technically, no.
Yeah, but when they're taking photos of opposing players, that's what I'm moaning at. as if they only come to see the opposing players. Like, for instance, I don't know if it happened or not, but people taking photos of Mbappe. We've seen it at the Etihad. People taking photos of Mbappe and great world players, but they're not there. They should be there to support the team, not take photos of the opponents.
That's my opinion, says the Toon Review.
And you're
clearly
to
a troll.
As shite as it is.
Eh?
And he's welcome to it as shite as it is.
Yeah.
It's weird that you've named your own username similar to what the channel name is, but then you've basically turned up most shows and disagree with everything we say. You don't agree, you don't like us, and you don't agree with anything we say, but your name is our name. Like,
there you go. But as usual, it's Paul's opinion and sod the rest. Where have I argued anybody's opinion? Everyone's got one. I've never said anything. I've got my opinion.
it's clearly someone who's been banned before that's just an idiot. So just go away and watch another channel. It's fine.
Absolutely. Kev says we did enough to pick the lock. We just bloody missed the chances. Not as if the chances fell to raw youngsters. We played well, especially second half. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand all these people that have come out and said that, we were embarrassed or anything crap like this. I thought we played quite well, Billy.
I did as well. Yeah, I really did. I thought we were a little bit naive at times, but in the main, I thought we played really well. And on another given day, we could have won that game 3-1. Absolutely no doubt about it. I just think that Dortmund had a little bit more nous in us on the day, and that's where I think they won the game, if we're perfectly honest. But having said that, if things had gone different ways, if Callum had finished his chance, if that header had been 6 inches under where it was, we won the game 2-1. So you can't really argue with it. The performance was, but it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Alex, what do you reckon?
What, just the overall of it?
The overall performance, yeah.
I thought we played well.
Yeah,
I thought we played well. I mean, look, I think there's certain sections of the fan base that just haven't got a clue. We've got no God-given right to be winning games in the Champions League. It's Borussia Dortmund. They are modern-day royalty of the competition. They got to a final in the last decade. Forgive me if it might be 11 years, possibly, whatever it was. When they got to the final against Bayern, they've had some of the best players of the world on their team. They had some of the Polish guys. They had Marco Reus. They had obviously Hummels when he was there before he went back to Bayern, and Lewandowski. They've obviously had Bellingham more recently and Sancho when he was there. They've had absolutely phenomenal players. They've been fighting for titles year after year after year after year with an enormous stadium, with moderate to deep runs in the Champions League. This is our first sort of, it's been 20 years. It's the first go, we did really well. We had 60% possession. We should have scored a goal. It didn't happen, but we didn't play badly. Considering who we were playing against, you've got to factor in this. This is like the Arsenal / Liverpool of Germany, if you want to sort of equate it to a position sort of that kind of, and they rocked up to St. James's Park and we were no scrubs. Like, they had to hang on for dear life to take 3 points, so much so that their manager cheered with elation at the end of the game because he realized how
what
huge
a big result it was. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's enormous to come to St. James's Park and take 3 points. I'm actually quite flattered that they were so happy to get 3 points because they knew it was going to be a massive task.
Absolutely.
And that's flattering. That shows how far we've come. The fact that they respect us that much, that they're so happy they got the 3 points. Sometimes a team wins and they just all sort of wander off. But Dortmund won and they were absolutely ecstatic because they didn't think they were going to win that game. They thought it was a result, and that's massive. Like, we'll get there. I
actually think a scrape 2-1 win against PSG might have served us better than a 4-1 win. I do, honestly. Atmosphere-wise, and I think people are expecting 4-4s every week.
Yeah, it's become it has become what, Alex?
I just can't. People just no.
Dortmund are a loser club.
Dortmund are a loser club. No, they're not though. They're title challenges every single year in Germany. That's a stupid comment, and it's just highlighting that there's a few people with that opinion, and it's just causing everyone to lose their minds on social media because it's just ridiculous.
Let's have a look. We have Manchester City fan for life. Another 199 super chat says players you have would not get in our starting 11.
Correct.
Who's that? For which team?
Manchester City fan for life says that.
Over City,
of course. There's lots of teams around the world where some players won't get in Man City's team. Man City are the best club side in the world, aren't they?
Would Bruno
that's
get
not
in?
the insult that he thinks it is, really.
No, it's not. I think every club in the world.
But the fact is, we'll be where you are in a few years' time. We'll be able to say that. So there you go.
Although surely there's got to be one or two that would get in.
Yeah, Bruno would get in, I think. Or maybe
Bruno.
not. I mean, Rodri's pretty good, isn't he?
As an 8 though, who's their other
As an
8?
possibly, yeah, possibly.
I mean, it depends on where Bernardo Silva plays, but you could argue there's a case to be made for having Rodri, Bruno, Kevin De Bruyne. I think that would be disgusting.
Would you put Gordon?
By the way,
ahead
can I just point out,
Grealish or Doku?
Yeah, Chippers makes a good point in the comments as well. Dortmund have lost one game in the last 27.
That's
Yeah,
not that's hardly losers, really, are they?
Yeah. So, yeah, there you go. Great point, Chippers. Ronald Turnbull, thank you for your £20 super chat. Very kind, my friend. We played as well as the ref would let us. He kept stopping our game. He was abysmal. Let's just put it that way.
Apparently, we need to buy players. Yes, but we don't want to break 127 rules. We're going to try and do it properly.
Yeah. Could the Toon review be Ginger Hoskins in disguise?
No, spelling's too good for that.
Yeah.
Very true.
Indeed. Right. It is that time of the evening where we, oh God, Ancients of Mumu says, could it be that woman from the other night? What was her name again, Paul? Janice.
I don't think so.
I don't think it's Janice, no. I just think it's a sad cellar boy sitting in his dungeon. Anyway, it is time now to do the player ratings. Please take part, as usual, in the chat, guys. But just before we get started, if you are enjoying tonight's show, don't forget to give it the thumbs up. We've got nearly 800 people watching and only 170 likes. Come on, guys, you know what to do. Just take a second out to go and hit that thumbs up button right now before we start the player ratings. Let's get these likes up a little bit for us, please. If you are new and you like what you see, please do subscribe. Come and be part of this fantastic community on the Toon Review. It is free to do so, and also hit that notification bell, which will let you know when we schedule a live show or we upload any future videos recorded. You can become a member of the Toon Review by hitting the join button just underneath the three of us. And of course, you can donate to the channel, as so many wonderful people have tonight, by hitting the $sign at the bottom of the live comments, and that will get your comment read straight out as well. Oh, there's Ben. Oh, here we are. There's another one. I'm not liking you for begging. Well, I'm sorry for trying to make a living, Ben. You know what I mean?
He's
Absolutely. Is he? Well, it's too late. I've read your stingy comment out first, you twat.
Read out this next one
He's
as well.
got you now. He's got you. Anyway, I've got something to announce before we do.
Okay.
It's an interesting.
Hang on, is it a big announcement, Alex? Anything you want to?
I mean, it's about the channel. No drum roll. It's fine.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is Alex Walker.
Come on, full screen, Paul.
His little section. He is now full screen. Here we go. No, that's me. Oh, I've just chucked him off. Hang on. Let's remove.
Oh God! Right, Halloween, guys. Halloween. So we're playing Wolves on Sunday, I believe. So we'll be doing the review for that on the Monday night, which is Halloween the 31st. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's right. So just for a bit of banter, we have done some Halloween stuff in recent years. Get your pumpkins. Over the weekend, if you're bored, supermarket, get some extra pumpkins, even the little small ones, that's fine. Do some TTR pumpkins. You can do a Paul pumpkin, a Billy pumpkin, a Stato pumpkin. You can do a Daisy pumpkin. Do whatever. Just do some interesting pumpkins. Feel free to share them on Twitter. We'll do some fun stuff, and then we can maybe show some on the Monday night, and we can all have a bit of fun. So, yeah, Halloween for the post-Wolves game. And it is Wolves as well. It's all themed werewolves. We can have a bit of fun with it. You can come back now, guys.
Thank you very much for that, Alex, and thank you for pre-warning me that you were going to make that announcement of people making pumpkins out of us. But it's fine.
I'm not sure the pumpkin fucking big enough for me. Fucking Newcastle would have to be on this fucking show.
Oh, do we play Wolves on Saturday? Oh, sorry, guys. We play Wolves on Saturday. It's fine. Well, we'll do it on Sunday then. It's all good. It's all good.
Oh my God, Billy. Give me prior warning when you're going to come up with them, will you? Jesus.
Halloween is on Tuesday as well. I've had an absolute mare with the dates. It's Halloween anyway. It's
Alex,
fine.
What are you talking about?
After the Wolves game, when we do the review, we'll do some Halloween things. There you go. So if you're bored, do some TTR pumpkins.
Yeah, if you want to get your kids to try and make, Paul, Billy, or Alex pumpkins, and then send them, email me them. And I'll get them on the show, and we'll give some prizes for the best ones. How about that?
Anything, NUFC ones, you can do any of the players. Just make it really whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
make it creative.
But Billy, I think you could make some good ones. Yeah, we'll see how that turns out. Right, let's do the player ratings. I've done me begging now. Okay, so yeah, I do apologize for trying to make a living and trying to keep the channel going. I do apologize for that sincerely. Anyway, we now come to the player ratings. So as usual, take part in the chat for us, guys. If anyone's still in the chat after me begging, I don't know. Right, we'll start with Nick Pope. Billy.
Very, very good last night. Much more like the Pope we've come to appreciate and love. Catching crosses, distribution was great. Some great saves. Could do nothing about the goal. All in all, I'm going to give Pope a 9.
Okay, Alex.
I mean, I think we've given him sort of 7s in recent performances. And I think the saves alone bumps him up to an 8. And then the improvement in the distribution gives him another point in my books. I think it gets him a 9. I don't feel like I don't think he gets any more than a 9, but I feel like there's a few extra bits. It was a decent performance, plus the saves and the improved distribution. I feel like it's got to be a 9 in my books.
Okay. Up the year one, thank you very much for your £5 super chat. Hope you and the family are well. To put it in perspective, 4 games lost so far. 3 of them are European champions in recent memory. Brighton are not a pushover either. How are the lads? Exactly. Good point. Right. I'm going to give Nick Pope an 8. I thought, yes, he made some good saves, but he also flapped at a few, Billy, if you can remember. We did comment. He made some good saves, but he came for a few crosses that he sort of flapped at and didn't get behind and caused a few issues. But look,
I feel like he was just trying to cover his own ass, wasn't he? Because, with Fulkrug, Hummels and all of those, and, Nemecha, they got some big boys on the pitch. They're trying to,
yeah.
I mean...
Yeah. Ben says, haha, don't worry. I actually need you to remind me to like, so keep up the begging. Thank you, Ben. Martin Watson, thanks for your £1.99 super chat. Billy's biggest pumpkin on record is £2,749.
Yeah, I think it's still a great egg in the cake there, to be fair. That's one of my testicles, that is.
God's sake. Billy the Bull. Oh, God, it's neither one. You went out with Daisy.
I was no good at the hurdles at school for certain.
No. Oh, dear. Kath Chandler. Kath, thank you for becoming a member. Welcome to Members Club. I'm not sure if that's a renewal or not, Kath, but thank you so much for your generosity and welcome to the family again. Spike Milligan, thank you for your £10 super chat. Spike has sent some incredible prizes, which I meant to give some out tonight, but I forgot to bring them. So we will give some away tomorrow night. There's some books, there's some photos to get, there's some great stuff to give away. So very much, very, very much appreciated. Thank you for your £10 super chat. He says, it's an effing football match, not an effing fashion show. Should not need a phone at the game. I mean, you see how some dress to go at the football and you think, are you just trying to get the players to notice you or something here? Because it's not going to happen. Manchester City fan for life says, have you thought of selling a few players to get some money coming in? And also, you won't buy Saudi, so you have money to buy like City did.
Well, no, because we have FFP and we sold Maxi, so...
And clearly, they don't know what FFP is, do they?
No, and we're not owned by... Saudi.
I mean, I want to be nice to this guy because he's obviously or lady because they've done a few neutral comments, but at the same time, maybe you've not read that we had to sell a big player. We sold somebody with a long time left on their contract who was a peak age winger in Maxi. We sold him to generate funds for more players, and then in terms of just throwing money, underpriced as well, and then to buy more, we don't want to. They'll throw the book at us. I don't know why. I mean, you guys need to be careful as well. You've got pending for what 123, 127 charges. They might take the treble away from you. Like, I wouldn't
never know.
Don't
get cocky, is what Alex is trying to say. Barry the B, thank you for your £1.99 super chat. He says, here's some dosh for Billy's cracking banter. Thank you very much, Barry. Right, Kieran Trippier, right back. I'm going to give Trips a 7 for last night. I didn't particularly think he was very good last night. His crossing was awful. His corners were awful. And Matt Targett put the best cross of the game in from a free kick that he took. Listen, Trippier is a magnificent footballer. He's just the bee's bollocks as far as I'm concerned. But last night, I thought he was a 7. He wasn't up to his really high Now you could say that the pitch or the weather, etc., could be something to do with it. But look, I thought he was a 7, and most of the chat are actually agreeing with me. So I'm pleased about that. Billy.
Yeah, I agree. Just didn't get the grip of the game that he usually does. He was trying. You couldn't fault his effort, but passes going astray again due to the pitch. Possibly some of the crosses weren't great, but they were in good areas. But some of them weren't great. I think we generally give him 9s and 10s and 8s, but this time I think 7 is fair for him because I don't think he was his usual standard.
Yeah, Alex.
I think 7's fair. A few people saying he was poor or it was a poor game. I don't think it was. I don't think
he was poor, but it just wasn't up to his incredible high standard.
I feel like that's, it happens. It was strange conditions, tough game. He was marked. He was being pressed quite significantly as well. He still got 110 touches of the ball, but there wasn't as much output as we normally get from him. We can't expect that every time. Like it's not fair and it's unrealistic. It's like people having a go at certain strikers if they have one game where they don't score. Like it's just he's a right back, man. He's a right back. Like, we can't expect him to be a physical beast, a set piece beast, a captain, a leader. He can't be all of these things at 100% absolutely every single game. It's just unfair to expect that from him. Like we don't expect that from everyone else. We expect that like centre halves will make 1 or 2 mistakes per season. We allow Botman for that. We allow Share for it. It happens. Strikers are allowed games where they don't score. Trippier doesn't have to be Superman every single game. We've got to allow that, surely. And it was still a 7.
You can't, can he? Let's say he's not.
It wasn't a bad performance. It just, I still think it was a 7.
Okay. I love John Bruce's comment here. To the Man City supporter, wait till FFP catch up with your team. 10,001 points deduction. Enjoy playing in the Northern League.
Mate, to be fair, a few people have said that today. If Everton are looking at a 12 points deduction for what is theoretically one charge based on breaking FFP, then what are the 120 odd charges going to equate to for Man City? Like, I would be shaking in my boots right now if I was a Man City fan.
We're getting told off Kath. She says, I love trips, leave them alone. Okay. Right, we'll move to the other side. Dan Burn, Alex.
I haven't really thought about that. He was, that's a strange one. I don't think he really did anything wrong, did he? We didn't really get countered on his side. Most of the transitional moments came down to Trippier's side, and then they were cutbacks, and there wasn't really an expectation on. I don't think he really did anything wrong. Data-wise, 87% passing accuracy, a couple of accurate long balls. He wasn't really in the game that much. I don't think he did anything wrong. I think Dortmund had a different game plan, and it didn't involve Dan Burn, which maybe is clever from them because everybody who tries to go at us tries to go at Dan Burn, and it's normally their demise. They tried something different, and they got a win from it. So I need to rate him 8. I thought he was solid. I'm going to give him an 8. I thought he was a little bit better than Trippier.
I'm going to give him an 8 as well. What I really like about Dan Burn now is he's bombing down that left-hand side to get past Anthony Gordon on numerous occasions. He is trying. He is trying to put that into his game. And, again, it did nothing wrong, didn't give the ball away or anything like that. I thought he was solid. So an 8 for me, Billy.
A couple of times I remember him running the ball out of play. A little bit of a confusion with Anthony Gordon on one occasion. The ball was running to touch for nothing. But defensively solid and tried to help in attack. So I'm going to give him a 7, actually. I don't think any better than Trippier. It certainly wasn't worse.
Okay. Right, centre-backs, Jamal Lascelles. Billy.
I thought he was outstanding. I think the actual data does him a bit dirty style. You'll tell us when it's your turn. But I thought as a leader, I thought he was outstanding. Defensively good. Passing the ball was really good. Distribution really good. Covered for Trippier a couple of times. Seemed to have gained a couple of yards of pace since he slimmed down a little bit. I'm going to give Trippier an 8. Sorry, Lascelles.
I'm going with an 8 as well. How many times did he get his head on corners and crosses from Dortmund? It was him that was getting the head on it most of the time, or Dan Burn, actually. But I thought he was just really solid again. And I'm really pleased for him, actually, because he's come in, and we've been a bit worried about him coming in for the injury department, but he's performed really well. Alex?
Yeah, Billy was right. The data does him dirty a little. Well, I don't know. I think the data is quite fair. What we pointed out last night in the Patreon was that he lost a lot more aerial duels than he normally loses because people generally don't beat Lascelles at anything physical because he's just a man mountain. However, Fulkrug, the 30-year-old battering ram centre half, did beat him a few times. There was even a foul, which I don't feel like it was a foul necessarily from Lascelles. I think it was just the ref being the ref. But yeah, his passing really, really, really tidy. Positional play was really good. 88% passing accuracy. And again, I mentioned this yesterday. There was one moment where Trippier did not track a runner properly or well enough and didn't get in front of his runner. And Lascelles absolutely unloaded it, just went nuts at him and went, and then they had a little bit of an exchange and the camera went to somebody else. So I didn't quite see what happened, but you know, he was a proper leader, a real leader. He led from how he played, and he was happy to shout at people and tell people where to be and what to do. That was great from him. Like, you know, we've seen some good performances from Lascelles in the last 18 months, but that's the first time I've seen him. I don't know. There was something different about that performance. I don't know if anybody kind of understands what I mean, but it felt different. It felt like he's gained that little bit of self-confidence that he believes in himself enough to start bossing people around, to start dragging people around, and confident in his own passing ability as well. He was playing passes that were closer to the opposition players. Just a lot more confidence in his overall game. I really liked it. In fact, I'm going to give him a 9. I'm going to up it. I'm going to give him a 9 purely based on the confidence. He just played. He played like he wasn't going to misplace passes. I like that. That's what you need. It's about mentality. So I'm going to give him a 9. I thought it was really, really important.
Okay. Move on to Fabian Schär. I'm giving Schär a 9. The man is just a machine at the minute. He was absolutely brilliant again last night. His range of passing is just superb right now. He's really, really becoming a leader out there, one of the leaders on the pitch. And I just thought he was phenomenal. Alex?
For Fabian, I think he gets an 8. And he didn't get involved too much in ground duels or anything, but it's purely because he got pulled. Again, a lot of the runners that we didn't pick up were late runners into the box that were kind of more midfield's job. So I'm not putting any blame on Schär.
He also made some fantastic tackles, Alex.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, there was one where, to be fair, there was a moment where a few players were quite lazy. I think they played 2 or 3 passes and cut us open on the right-hand side, and Schär had to put in a really good tackle to put it out. I do remember. Okay, maybe that's unfair. You've swayed me. I'll go for a 9. That's fair. Yeah.
Please write that down. 1 hour and 2 minutes on the 26th of October, 2023. I have swayed Alex's opinion on a player. I cannot believe it. Billy Bob.
Yeah, I think 9 is perfect for him because I thought he was brilliant. That chance that Wilson should have scored all came from a fantastic tackle that Schär made, sliding tackle, similar to the one he made against PSG. Then his passing was great. He's becoming part of the heart and soul of the team, isn't he? I mean, I can't see a team without Fabian Schär in it now because he's irreplaceable at times. He really is. He's got the heart and soul, like Trippier, leadership, leads by example. Got lots of skill about him as well for centre half, and defensively we're solid as well. So 9 out of 10 for me.
Okay, right. We'll move into midfield now. We'll start with Bruno. Billy.
Yeah, felt a bit sorry for him. I thought he was kind of on his own at times in the middle of the park, certainly first half, but he was still trying to prompt and make things work for us. Passing was great. Some of his tricks he did again was great. I'm going to give him an 8.
Okay. I'm going to give him a 9. I thought Bruno, like you've pretty much summed it up, Billy. I mean, there's only one mark between us there, but I just thought he was brilliant again. You know, very calm on the ball, not losing it in silly places. Just, just Bruno. And I just think he's class, isn't he? He really is. I mean, a lot of the chat are going with 8s, but 8, 9, what the hell? Alex?
I mean, it's close to a 10, but I'll go for a 9. I thought it was absolutely immaculate. I felt sorry for him. His heat map almost resembles a horseshoe of him just patrolling the opposition box and trying to keep things going. He got fouled constantly. His ball retention was outrageous. Again, Jules was 8 out of 10. Ridiculous. 4 out of 4 completed dribbles against Dortmund in the Champions League. There is a reason why this boy has a release clause in his contract, because he can play for the very best. I don't think it's outrageous to say that Bruno would slot into a Real Madrid or a Man City team right now. Of course he would. He would be in the squad straight away. He's that good. And I agree with Billy. There were a few moments yesterday where he was stood sort of, we were in their defensive third, and he was stood in the middle, and he looks left, he looks right, nobody moves. He looks left, he looks right, nobody moves again. He has to move the ball a few yards. He looks again, nobody moves. He stood there on his own waiting for people to make moves. And he's so far ahead. When he's on form, he's so far ahead of anybody in our team technically. His footballing brain is outrageous. And I think he can play for any team in the world when he's playing like this. And he's been playing like this for 6 or 7 weeks again now. Yeah, he's a 9. I can't give him a 10, but you're not going to get a much better performance than that. 9. He was exceptional, and I felt frustrated for him that Joe Linton and Longstaff was a bit tired. You could tell it's not his fault. Joe Linton's just coming back. It's fine. We can excuse them to a point, but I felt sorry for Bruno that he didn't have his teammates, kind of, especially the other midfielders, to sort of feed off that. But yeah,
Sean Longstaff. It's the worst game for a while for Sean. He gets a 5 from me. I thought he was just not good last night. I think this is what we're saying about sort of looking around. Bruno. Sean didn't have that energy last night that he normally has. He was a little bit, dwelled on the ball a little bit too much for my liking. But look, he's allowed a bad game. He's been magnificent for the last few weeks. So, he just looked very leggy last night. Billy?
Yeah, I think you saw the difference between the quality in Premier League football and Champions League football. Like, at times, Sean wanted too many touches on the ball. Certainly with his facing our own goal, and he was robbed a couple of times. Once he was fouled, or maybe twice he was fouled, but 3 or 4 times it happened. I just think he wanted a little bit naive. He's got to get rid of the ball quicker in the Champions League. I'll give him a 6.
Okay. It is important to say that he did have a bit of an illness the day before the game. So whether that was still affecting him, I don't know. But he did have an illness. So, but he wasn't at his best. But Alex,
I'm going to go with a 5. If he was ill, fine. He's tired. He's playing a lot of football to a crazy level of intensity, and then to come into a Champions League game and to expect him to be just as good. I've got to rate the performance itself. The passing was subpar. It was 67% passing accuracy, no crosses, no long balls, no key passes, no shots, no dribbles. He won 1 duel out of 2. That was all he was involved in. We just needed a bit. We don't necessarily need any of the Hollywood data from him, but we just needed a bit more. We needed a few more duels, few more passes, few more, just a little bit, and that would have gotten a slightly more possession, maybe a few extra attacks. He was just off the pace, which is completely fine. Players are allowed to be tired. I'm gonna spoil it, but I'm gonna say the same about Wilson. That they're allowed these days off. They can't play to this intensity. So, some players can. Not all players have got that physical ability to just be able to play 2 games. It's just not. It is what it is.
We'll move on to Joe Linton now. Alex?
Much of the same, really, wasn't it? I'll give him a 6. I think he was a little bit better than Longstaff. Cleaner passes, 81% accuracy. But again, 6 out of 2 ground duels, and he didn't win any in the air. That's what you're in the team for, Joe, mate. You're in the team to do the dirty work. And if you don't win the dirty work, what are you in the team for? We didn't get much sort of in terms of transitions, dribbles, didn't get on the end of any headers in the box. They won everything in their box. Didn't break up play. So everything we want him in the team to do, he didn't do. So I can't really rate him highly. In fact, I think probably 6 is a bit generous. In fact, I've convinced myself down into a 5. I'm going to give him a 5. But it's fine. He'll improve. Yeah. We saw what he did against Man City. He can deliver something different. So
absolutely, Billy Bob.
Yeah, I just thought it's one of those games similar to Man City away that it just passed him by really. And when he did get the ball, nothing worked for him. He should be match fit from now. I think that last night would have done him some good in the long run. I think he'll be fine for Saturday. But as far as that game went last night, I think 5's fair.
Yeah, I'm giving him a 4. I just thought he was awful last night. Nothing worked for him. He just floated through the game for me. He wasn't good. You know, what I wanted to see from Joe Linton last night, and we mentioned this in the preview, was the physicality. You know, getting in the faces of the Dortmund players and making it really difficult for them. I didn't see him do that at all. And you're right, Alex. You know, get on the end of headers. He's a big bloke. He should be dominating in the box. You know, we talk about sort of the height of Dan Burn and the centre backs, etc. But Joe's a unit, and I want to see Joe get in there and get on the end of some headers. He could dominate some defenders. He really can. But I do still think he's not fully fit. But you know, listen, I love Joe Linton. Everybody knows I love Joe Linton, so he will come good. But last night wasn't his best game. But is it down to injury? Who knows? Anyway, we'll move to the front three now, and we'll start off with Miguel Almiron, Billy.
Well, he should have had a penalty first and foremost. But apart from that, headless chicken mode again, I think. Done a lot of running for little kind of result. I'll give him a 6.
Okay. Alex?
That's a tough one. That is a tough one. I feel like I want to give him a 7, but I feel like it's possibly a little generous. But I'll go with it. I mean, he got us 2 free kicks in decent areas. He was energetic. It's one of the reasons why we controlled the game so much is partly because of how he plays. And that helped with creating those chances that we ideally should have scored one of them. But yeah, I can see why people are rating him less. There's people putting 5s and 6s. I can't really disagree with you. Again, I feel like it could be from a range from 5 to 7. It just depends on what pair of glasses you've got on at the time. It was straight. He did some good things, but again, it was I don't want to say it, but I kind of feel a little bit like I'm agreeing with Billy with a little bit headless chickeny. Like there was certain runs that maybe weren't necessary.
And then, of course, he was played in and completely made a faff of it from Bruno's little chip over.
I think, I mean, mate, that was bloody hard to have. No, I can't blame him for that.
He's an international footballer. He should have controlled that ball.
If he'd have scored that would have been bloody Puskas Award worthy. That was ridiculous. I think additional context for this as well. You've got to remember that because of Trippier having a slightly different game and struggling and being a press trigger, potentially had impact further up the pitch for Miggy as well. That has to be considered. And obviously his penalty shout. I'm going to go with a 7. I'll keep with a 7.
I'm going with a 6, mainly for the same reasons that Billy said. I wasn't overly impressed with him last night. However, irregularity was saying Miggy was man of the match for me. Newcastle's biggest threat. He is the most unfairly treated by most NUFC fans. Well, he was no way better than Anthony Gordon last night. No. You know, of course, that's your opinion. Anthony Gordon, now I'm giving him a 9. I thought he was magnificent as usual. He was the main attacking force for us last night. He caused so many problems. I just think this guy is just going to turn out to be an absolutely fabulous player for Newcastle United. His work rate is just unquestionable. The times he came over to the other side of the pitch to help out defending, you know, is attacking. You know, he got hauled to the ground on numerous occasions, but he doesn't roll around. He just gets up and gets on with it, unless it's, you know, a really bad tackle. But most of the time, he's up and on with it straight away. So an absolute 9 for me. Alex?
Yeah, 9 and my man of the match. I thought he was. I mean, he's just one of those guys, isn't he, at the moment, where if we play well or if we don't play well or if we win or if we lose, we find ourselves saying, well, Gordon was really good though, wasn't he? It doesn't matter what the game was. 9 out of 11 ground duels for a winger. He's a tank. He puts in so much hard work for results. He got us 5 free kicks as well. 5 free kicks. That's loads. And on top of that, 2 shots on target, 2 shots blocked. He just put in so much work. He created a big chance. He just did everything. Like he did absolutely everything. He deserves a 9. He was brilliant.
Yeah, Billy Bob.
Yeah, I feel we underutilised him at times as well. I think once Wolf or whatever his name was got the yellow card, I think we should have used Anthony Gordon an awful lot more.
Yeah,
but our
I
players
agree.
so kind of right-sided orientated,
Mhm.
and it wasn't working last night. I think we should have been wise to the event, quicker. We should have cut the balls out to Dan Burn to then carry it to pass it then to Gordon. And Cher should have been passing direct to Gordon, getting one-on-one with a fullback, because if we could have got him sent off, we would have won the game. He was outstanding last night, 9 out of 10. Definitely.
Now, we're not going to rate Alexander Isak. He was only on the field 12 minutes and injured. So basically, we're going to mark Callum Wilson as if he played the striker role for the full game, because I think that's only fair. Billy, what are you giving Callum Wilson?
We're back to those awful days back in January, February time for me. And a lot of it's not his fault. He did go on cold. He didn't have any chance to warm up. And we know if any player needs to warm up, it's Callum Wilson with his injury record. However, I'd have expected him to be warmed up by the second half, and he wasn't. He was profligate in front of goal, tried competing, but at the end of the day, if he puts his chance away, we don't lose that game, and he should have put that chance away. A strike for his calibre in the box. So, to me, it's a 4.
Yeah, I'm going with a 4 as well. I thought he was very disappointing. Look, Callum's gonna. There's a lot on Callum's shoulders over the next couple of months, guys. We know that, or the next month or so with Isak missing. But look, it was an off day. He wasn't certainly expected to come on when he did, if at all, in the game. So it was a little bit, thrown on into the fire kind of thing. But like you say, Billy, I would have expected him to be a bit more added in the second half. But normally he'd take that chance, wouldn't he? He'd smash it. But for some reason he was just off last night. It just wasn't his night. Alex?
I mean, I agree with everything you guys said, but I'm going to give him a 5 purely for the chance, because he did everything he could. Fine margins in a game like that, you've just got to try and steer it towards goal, and hitting the crossbar, it's just one of those. But yeah,
the good header.
But the rest of it, again, it's just, you can't expect Callum Wilson to play this much football. He can't play 2 games a week. I don't know what we're going to do. Hopefully, Willock and Joe Linton. I mean, it's one of those where I know we've not really mentioned it. I feel like a few people in the chat have, and I feel like it's about time we need to say it. Is we needed Elliot Anderson in that game really badly. I think he'd have been amazing for us. I think, again, it's a difficult shout, but Bruno, Elliot Anderson, Tonali start that game, we might win that. And I know that's ifs and buts and coconuts, but it was just about, we didn't want certain players playing and they were just lethargic. Eddie Howe recognised that. That's why the first 2 to get hooked were Joe Linton and Sean Longstaff. He was fully aware of that was an issue. That's why he changed it. And it's just a shame, because it's, but we've got to put up with it. It's going to be a long season. There's going to be a lot more of these conversations. So it is what it is. Yeah. But yeah, I'll give Callum a 5.
Nathan says, guys, this trolling you're getting came around last year in the build-up to the awards. I've just noticed random comments just antagonising enough to interrupt. I could be wrong, but an observation.
Interesting.
Mr. Trigger TV says that Callum was an 8. F-Nars, what yous were watching. We were watching the football, mate. And if you see the comments from all the other fans.
I mean, to be fair to him, he did quite a lot of hard graft when he received the ball deep, but he couldn't really do a lot with it. Like he was driving and retaining the ball for a few seconds, but then he'd got 4 players on him. Callum's not fast enough to get out of that. Like, couldn't really do much about it. I can't blame him for that, but yeah.
Now the substitutes, we won't rate Murphy because he was on literally a few minutes before he got the injury. So who else came on? We had, who was first to come on last night? Tonali and Willock. So we'll go with Tonali and Willock. We'll rate them together. So Billy, Tonali and Willock.
I thought Tonali was great when he came on. Yeah, showed lots of quality. Some of his little one-touch passes, sublime. Yeah, I'll give him an 8. Purely, it would have been more than that, but just because he won for half an hour, that's it. Willock showed signs. Obviously not match fit. Probably lacking a yard of pace or 2, but I don't think he gave the ball away, so I'm going to give him a 7.
Okay, Alex.
Yeah, I'll give him an 8. I thought
Who?
it was brilliant. Tonali.
Okay.
Or are we rating 2? Are we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tonali and Willock.
Oh, and Willock. So Tonali gets an 8. He wasn't putting in, the physical data wasn't as good for that game, but you could just see the quality. He just looked like he was playing. I mean, I mentioned this at the beginning, so I won't go on about it. But yeah, an 8. I liked Tonali's performance. And yeah, I feel like we're not going to get to rate him again for a long time. So well done, Tonali. We'll see you again next year. Willock, pleasantly surprised because it's been a long time. It's been a long time for Willock. And whenever he comes back, he is rusty as sin. He always is. It always takes Willock 2 or 3 games because the ball just pings off his boot like it's a balloon, and he normally is quite rusty. However, he came on, didn't look too rusty. The passes were clean and crisp. He was making good decisions, careful with the ball. I really like that because I did think when he came on, oh God, please don't, I was half expecting him with a few array passes, but he wasn't. He came on and he was really mature, actually. And I think it's testament to the training and the coaching staff. And he's come out with his interview and said that Eddie Howe was in contact every day, and it's been brilliant through his rehabilitation. And it's good to see. I'm excited for Willock to be back because he was an exceptional player at the back end of last season. He was brilliant.
Yeah, I'm going with an 8 and a 7 as well for exactly the same reasons. Right, who else?
Target.
Target came on.
Just Target. Yeah, Target for 70 for Dan Burn.
And that was it, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Matt Target for me gets an 8. I thought he was really, really good when he came on. He put in some great balls into the box. And, considering he hasn't had a lot of football either, I thought he was great. So he gets an 8 from me. Billy?
I'll give him a 7 because I don't think he was as good as Tonali was. However, I agree with everything you just said. He was much better attacking fullback than Dan Burn is. And that's not Dan Burn's fault, obviously. It's just Dan Burn isn't really a left back, is he? But Target's a specialist left back. Wasn't found wanting defence because they didn't really attack, did they, after he came on? But some of it, he's got a wonderful left foot, and that free kick was sublime, as you say. So, yeah, 7 for me.
Okay, Alex?
I'm gonna give it a 7. I don't know. I'm not as impressed as everybody else was. I think they were happy for him to have the ball in certain areas because they're like, oh, it's Matt Target and he's a left back. They were quite. I feel like it wasn't because he was so good. I feel like it was kind of because they were just sitting off him and staying in shape. Is that harsh to Matt Target? Maybe it is. I just feel like that's what happened. The left-footed whip in was lovely and refreshing. It's something that we've talked about for ages. Whenever we see Matt Ritchie in friendlies, we're like, oh, he's got a wonderful left foot, because he has. Matt Ritchie's still got great technical ability. It's something we miss in this team. So hopefully when we do some more recruitment, we will get a left footer who can actually play some set pieces, because it's great. It is nice to see. But yeah, I'll give Matt Target a 7. I don't want to take it away from him, but I thought, a lot of it was just because they were just sat in their shape. I would have. I mean, Foxy's just taken the words right out of my mouth. I would have preferred to have seen Lewis Hall come on in that sort of situation, in my opinion.
Strange one, Lewis Hall. It really is, and we're not seeing much of him at all.
You'll see him next Wednesday. No doubt about that.
Well, I think so. Yeah. Right. Finally, the manager, Eddie Howe. Alex.
I'm going to give him a 9. I can't give him a 10 because we lost the game. However, I feel like every decision he made was correct. I feel like potentially he couldn't start Elliot Anderson because of his back injury. There's the issue with Tonali. He had to take Isak off because of injury. He made the right substitutions at the right time to try and change the shape, to increase the midfield energy, to get out of them. It improved us getting out of them. We got more chances. We were more dominant. I don't know what Eddie Howe could have done any differently to try and win that game. I thought he made every call correctly.
Should he have started Tonali?
Yeah, but that's tricky, isn't it? There's a lot more to it than just that. If there was none of this betting scandal, then yeah, I would quite happily say yes, Tonali should have started. However, based on everything going on, I don't feel like we can really say that, because it's. But if you think about how he set the team up, again, we don't know what would have happened if Isak hadn't have gotten injured. That's not Eddie Howe's fault that somebody gets injured. It happens. I feel like most decisions he made were correct. You know, who else would have started instead of, like, Longstaff's got to start because of everything that's going on. Joe Linton has to start because Elliot Anderson's injured, and Willock is not fit enough to start a game. His hands were tied. I think he made all the right calls at the right time. I don't know what he could have done any differently.
Yep. Billy?
I agree with everything Alex has just said, and I think his in-game management was very brave also. To change to a system that I don't think I've ever seen Eddie Howe play a 4-4-2. Certainly not for an awful long time, certainly not in Newcastle.
Yeah,
and he did
try,
that.
Didn't he?
He tried it for a while, and it worked to a certain extent. So he was brave in his substitutions. I thought they could have come a little bit earlier, but that's kind of nitpicking. So I think 9's fair, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. 9 for me as well. I mean, yeah, maybe slightly earlier with the substitutions, but, you know, he did change it. He did try and get us back in the game. He made, you know, which we very rarely see him make tactical changes like that.
I think he always does that, doesn't he? He waits till sort of 65 minimum because he likes to give the players an opportunity to respond and execute what he's given at halftime instruction-wise. It's not fair if you give all of the 11 halftime instructions and then you hook people after like 7 or 8 minutes into the second half. You've got to give them 15 minutes to try and influence the game on your game plan. And then if they're not, then fine, hook them at 65. You know.
Indeed. Right, that is it for the match review. Thank you so much for watching tonight. Apologies again to those that were having problems with the streams earlier on, but unfortunately, YouTube is out of our hands. And I think they need the servers looking at, quite honestly, given how many times it's happened lately. But who are we to say YouTube? You know, they're a multi-billion-dollar company. So anyway, as I say, that is it. We are back tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. It's a match preview tomorrow. We are doing a match preview, so no Face the Lads. Alex, you looked a bit confused there. We do play on Saturday again, you know.
Yeah, I've just remembered. Got to get the graphics going. I need to watch some Wolves games. Oh, God, quick.
It'll be all right.
It will be all right. But we will be doing a Face the Fans one day next week, possibly next Wednesday night. No, we're playing Wednesday night, aren't we? Sod it. Sometime we will fit Face the Fans in. Face the Lads, sorry. But we are, obviously, the games are coming thick and fast. So it's sort of previews, reviews, news, all sorts of stuff. But as usual, join us in the chat. We'll be previewing the game, having a look at possible lineups. Good luck with the Newcastle one, Alex, for your graphics. But we will give you our thoughts on it. We will look at our different views of who will line up where and performance-wise. So that'll be 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Please be there. I will be doing a video, of course, on Eddie Howe's press conference, of course. See what the gaffer had to say. So keep an eye out for that being uploaded as well. Thank you for your super chats and new memberships. Really kind. Thank you to the mods and Alex and Billy. But again, thanks to you for spending your Thursday night with us. You know, it's been a while since we've had to do a defeat. But you know what? It still wasn't a bad night. It was, you know, we did all right. And we will keep moving on. So thank you very much for joining us. And we'll see you tomorrow, folks. In the meantime, good night.
How are the lads and lasses?
Come back and check on some green.